I hope during these challenging times, you and your loved ones are safe and well. Hi, New Haven and West Haven. My name is Jason Bartlett, and I am a former state legislator, a former civil rights activist for the National Black Justice Coalition, a former small business owner for 15 years. I am a dad, a new grandpa, an adoptee, a foster child, and recently was the director of youth services for the city of New Haven before I was wrongfully terminated. And I am exploring a run for the state senate to represent New Haven and West Haven, and I hope you'll join me. I would like to bring some things into the open and tell you exactly why I'd like you to join my campaign. First, that wrongful termination. Have you ever experienced where you've been oppressed? Have you ever experienced where the good old boys have actually lied on you and taken away your rights? I'd like to tell you my inspiration for dealing with this situation, and it's Bartlett versus Krause, a case that went all the way to the Supreme Court in 1989. And that Bartlett was a fire marshal who was wrongfully terminated for doing her job. In fact, that fire marshal wrote up firehouses and wrote up town buildings because they were in violation of fire codes, and they needed to be corrected. But people didn't want that to come to light, and so they made up bogus reasons and fired that fire marshal. That fire marshal was my mother, Patricia Bartlett. She took her case all the way to the Supreme Court, and she won. So, as the youth director, I too did my job and had a vision and a dream for the youth of my city. And I too was lied upon. And a bogus reason was given to terminate me. So I just want to put that out there. And just to let you know that I'm inspired by Patricia Bartlett, my mom. And when I go to Hartford, I'm going to make sure that workers' rights are protected, that union rights are protected, that non-disclosure agreements are rid of in this state, and that we begin to expand justice and due process for the working person. And that leads me to my first issue, my first passion, youth and education. When I was in the state legislature, the first bill I did was raising the age that youth could withdraw from school. I tried to get it from 16 to 18, but I was successful in getting it from 16 to 17 because I don't believe in giving up on our kids. And that's where I want to start. Again, if elected as a state senator, we need to end the school to prison pipeline. One of the things that I learned here in the city of New Haven is that we have to have restorative practices in all of our schools. I also want to end expulsions and make sure that our kids always get a full day. No longer should our kids, if they're expelled from school, only get 2 hours of classroom time. Another issue is jobs. I propose that we, West Haven and New Haven, create a regional tax increment financing authority. It's a way to create 1,000+ jobs for New Haven and West Haven. We can make the Haven in West Haven happen. And the way to do this is to have a leader, a legislator, go to Hartford and get enabling legislation to create what they call a Tax Increment Finance Authority, a TIF. And this authority would be able to spend well over $1 billion in public improvement bonding, which would create sustainable jobs. An example of this kind of transformation, of this kind of opportunity that we can give for our residents, can be found in Burlington, Vermont, where they transformed their waterfront. And this is what we can do for the Haven in West Haven and for Long Wharf right here. No longer is it conceptual, but we can actually come up with the monies to create the jobs, to create the infrastructure, to transform our city and neighboring town. And how about transportation? First off, no one in our state delegation spoke up against the West Haven toll. No. The answer is no. What we need to be doing is investing in our public transportation and helping our community get to their jobs. We should have natural gas, buses, and begin to invest in that. And our buses, our public transportation, should be free. It's time we had a state legislator from this area take on the opioid crisis. We have folks coming from around the state of Connecticut to New Haven and West Haven, and we do not have a legislator in the room helping with this opioid crisis. It's also time that Connecticut have a public option so that when people don't have health care, there is a safety net, and there is health care for our residents. Health care is a right, not a privilege. Finally, taxes. I'm still outraged that the state of Connecticut and our delegation bailed out Hartford like $150 million plus. Yet, New Haven, nothing. West Haven imposed the MARB on West Haven. It's an outrage. I say we go back to the days of Senator Tony Harp, where we had a senator looking out for the peoples of West Haven and New Haven and bringing monies back to our community. That would be my number one priority, to make sure that our schools are funded at the proper percentage that they're supposed to be, that our communities get the payment in lieu of taxes that we deserve, and that the state of Connecticut does right by our taxpayers. That is priority number one. If I go on to run for state senate, I will be immersed in the budget and making sure that our taxpayers, that our community is invested in by the state of Connecticut. In conclusion, I hope you'll join my exploratory campaign. If you're looking for somebody with passion, with determination, resilience, if you're looking for somebody with some ideas, some innovative ideas that can make a difference for our community, if you're looking for a fighter, if you're looking to join and roar, and let's use our voices collectively to make a difference, please join 2020 Bartlett. That's our campaign, 2020 Bartlett. Paid for by 2020 Bartlett and approved by Jason Bartlett.